Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Liam's Hockey, brought to you by Hosie and Brown Automotive and Ad Seal Services. And later today, a new sponsor joining the show. Very pleased to announce Shoeless Joes, and I'll talk about them as we wrap up a little later. My good friend Jeff Underhill and what he has got going on in respect to a new Shoeless Joe's franchise coming to the city of Ottawa very soon. As I always say, hope not to ramble on too much today, but just a couple of things. Felt encouraged to get on the horn here and bang these out rather than write them down. Just I want to comment obviously on the Will Smith Chris Rock scenario, because I did jump on a couple of threads. I bit my tongue on about 100 others, but maybe I'm showing my age here. But I could not care less that an actor went up and smacked a comedian across the face in an awards banquet, dinner, ceremony that is for the rich and famous, and just the incredible outpouring of angst over Will Smith's inappropriate decision to go up and do what he did is just mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 0 to me that he did it. On a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of what it will do to me, I enjoy Will Smith's work and Chris Rock's. I think Will Smith, had a little bit bigger resume, I would say. I think that's safe to say. But both doing similar things to some degree. But I've enjoyed all of Will Smith's work, going right back to Fresh Prince. Easy for me to say. Fresh Prince. And his movies. I've enjoyed pretty much every one of them. So I have no problem with that. And, right or wrong, he took offense in a snap fashion after he saw that his wife was upset with the comment based on her medical condition for her hair. We all know the story as it is now. I just do not get the angst. I don't get it. When you've got a potential, I don't believe we'll get to a Third World War situation, because let's be honest, it's a couple push of the buttons and none of us are here. So where are they going to go with that? Have a conventional fight with NATO coming in eventually and defending Poland, or encroaching on Ukraine, or whatever? I mean, I'm monitoring that daily, as I'm sure most of you are to some degree. I don't spend hours in front of the TV or on social media trying to garner every single bit of information, but that to me is by far and away the most pressing concern in the world today. And I get, look, it was topical and he did it, and these men and these women who are actors and actresses or singers or entertainers in any fashion that do it to the degree that they do, that it affects us. It's a form of our entertainment for millions of people the world over. So I get the interest in it. I just don't get the angst. I just don't. I mean, look, if he went up there and actually started throwing, and they got into it, they got right down, had to be physically separated or something, but he went up and bitch slapped him. He gave him a slap, of all things on top of that. He gave him a slap, which I had to watch it like 4 times and even see the back camera angle of it, even to see the contact was made. I thought the whole thing was a setup at first. And then until he started yelling and started dropping the F-bombs. And now, of course, we know that it wasn't, and apologies have been made, and this thing will be such a non-entity in 24 to 48 hours, other than a few other snippets. I just couldn't get the angst or the response to it, and that came from people who were really, really put aside by Will's behavior. Wow. I don't know. I don't know what in any walk of life, if a man feels that his partner, especially a wife, a girlfriend, but I mean these days partner, just trying to be politically correct here, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, if you feel your partner's been disparaged in any way, shape, or form, I don't know anybody personally at least out of my peer group, that wouldn't be addressed. And whether that may or may not to lead to something, I'm quite certain some of you watching this have either witnessed it, if not haven't been involved in it to some degree. Had a couple situations in my past. My God, I'm one of 8 billion on the planet. How many others? So, it's no problem at all with the fact Will went up there. He overreacted. A big deal. It's not like the show got canceled or anything. They kept going. Guess they were saying they're contemplating coming down and escorting him out. And then on top of it all, he wins Best Oscar. He wins the Oscar for Best Actor. For a dad who was purported to be absolutely nuts and off the wall. Oh my God. You can't make this up, right? Only in Hollywood. Anyway, that's 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes out of my life I'll never get back. But I wanted to say my piece on it. For God's sakes, folks, get a grip on reality. Holy Jesus. It's an actor smacking a comedian. Who cares? Who cares? What effect does that have on your life? What's happening in Ukraine is already having an effect on our life. Look at our gas prices. Will Smith smacking Chris Rock isn't going to do a damn thing. Jeez. Talk about an overreaction from the people who went on about this. The woke. Oh my God. I might have to drink early. Anyway. Secondly, and certainly from a sad point of view, condolences to the Melnyk family on the passing of Eugene. Pretty big news, definitely in the sport of hockey, and specifically here in Ottawa. Well-documented owner, came in on the white horse in 2003, and boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, yeah, he got the team in the building for a song, but regardless, there was nobody else stepping up, and he did, and they went to the semis in 2003, and they went to the finals in 2007. And yeah, it's been an absolute crap show for the last 10 years, really, in Ottawa. Pretty much since Brian Murray left as a coach and went up to general manager. I always said I felt Brian Murray was a better coach than a GM, but really it was the erosion of the relationship with Eugene Melnyk and the team, the players in specific, Daniel Alfredson, and then moving forward. I know I saw some people post that it started earlier with some issues with Danny Heatley. That's actually a good point. That's actually a very good point. Contractually, what Heatley was owed, the deal that was tried, that Brian Murray had in place with Edmonton, that eventually was rescinded because Heatley had a no trade, so he could pick a spot. We all know what happened. Anyway, bottom line is, condolences to a man, 62. I got to be honest, I thought he was older. I don't know, is he a 59 birth like me, or is he a 60 birth and he's turned already? I don't even know, but regardless, if he died yesterday at 62, that's my age right now. So, condolences to a peer, at least chronologically, and condolences, to his family. I never met the man. Because people say, what? You kidding? No. I actually stood right beside him from here to the far side of the table away after we did a remote in the for Team 1200 at the time it was called, before it went to fully TSN 1200, and of course I started when it was OSR 1200, but this is when I believe it was Team 1200, and I was hired on and off by the station a number of times over the years to work, usually backup capacity or whatever. Anyway, it was a remote, and he came in after to be interviewed on the station. It was at a furniture store out in Canada on a Saturday, I believe, and he came in after, and I was really looking forward to meeting him because I knew he was coming on after me. So I specifically waited around to meet him, and I'm not even making this up. I had my hand like half out. I was right there. I was just ready to make eye contact with him. And so Mr. Melnyk, it's really nice to meet you, but he wouldn't give me the time of day. Like, he just wanted, just almost like he was avoided me. Whatever, I don't care. But I mean, I was looking forward to meeting him. There was a couple of other occasions where we were in the same vicinity, and usually after I had done some sort of event, spoke at. He was there. And again, just blew right by me. Right by me. I give you the analogy. It's like when Red Fisher passed away. legendary sports writer in Montreal. And I wasn't going to be a hypocrite and jump on Twitter and say condolences to the family of a man. The guy he couldn't have been more aloof, ignorant, or arrogant to me anytime that he met me in the 1980s or 1990s. And this is when I was doing Dick Irvin's show all the time. I was doing Dick's TV show. I was on Montreal Canadiens radio. I was in the press box at the Montreal Forum more than I was in the stands. And he still wouldn't even say 2 words to me. So, sorry for the loss to the family, but whatever. Same with Mr. Melnyk. Like, the guy morphed into the worst owner in sports history. So what are you going to do, be a hypocrite? I mean, condolences to the family, for sure. But, I unfortunately don't have anything personal to share with the guy. And I would have loved to have met him back in the day when I had a couple of opportunities. But I was definitely shocked. I had no idea. I hadn't heard a thing. I had no rumblings like some of the guys are saying on the air today. They had some knowledge or some rumblings. I had none. And I was quite surprised when the news broke. Saw it on Twitter. Got messages immediately from friends. I want to thank them for trying to keep me informed. You know, Ken Craig, Janice Kelly was in second. Dave Bullis, my good friend. Everybody messaged. A lot of people messaging me. I appreciate it. I just happened to be on Twitter. I guess a lot of us kind of go to that app quite a bit until you crash at night. And I just happened to see the news posted by the Ottawa Senators probably mere seconds after they had posted it. So he'll go down in history. He has one of the most abrasive and, I mean, he instigated so much, especially from 2017 on. And I don't blame him for not wanting to meet me then. 2017, 2018, the outdoor game, and all of that. I was quoted by Roy McGregor as the team was about to be sold. I had no idea Roy was going to post that in his column, read by 1 million people. And next thing you know, I got bombarded with phone calls at home. And it's my belief anyway that somewhat led to the impromptu interview that Mr. Melnyk gave ringside at Parliament Hill for the outdoor game the night before Montreal played Ottawa at Lansdowne Park in that Heritage Classic. And so that was never my intention to light that fire, but it was quoted as such, and things kind of took off from there. Again, in his responses, he was referring to a quote that was being said about the team being up for sale or on the close of being sold, and he absolutely shot it down. And lo and behold, the team is never sold. So we'll wait and see what transpires there with his daughters. I think one, if not both of them, are of age. So them and or handlers, legally and otherwise, and whatever happens, we'll see. But condolences nonetheless to the family on his passing, and whether it was related to the transplant he received 7 years ago. If it was, and he got an extra 7 years of life thanks to that, then I'm very happy. Very happy for his children, first and foremost. I believe his mother is still alive, and anybody that would purport to be a friend or a close friend of his, I'm happy that you got 7 more years out of the man when that certainly didn't look like the case in 2015. So, and I really think the guy who deserves a ton of credit for that is Cyril Leeder. I know there was a lot of others as this thing went global, but I really, from what I recall of it 7 years ago, Cyril Leeder played the most significant role in getting that news out there. So condolences to the Melnyks, and doesn't change my opinion of him at all as an owner. And so now we'll see. Again, using hockey history as a benchmark, the Toronto Maple Leafs had a situation with Harold Ballard that dragged on through that decade of the 1980s. And when Harold's estate sold to the Toronto's Teachers Pension Fund, and they turned around and hired Cliff Fletcher, and Cliff Fletcher turned around and made the Doug Gilmour trade. And within 18 months, basically almost less than 2 years, that Leaf franchise was competitive. And yeah, they didn't get to a final. They went to back-to-back semis, and and including the one, the one against Wayne Gretzky and the high stick on Doug in L.A. in '93, and they kind of got the doors blown off them by Vancouver in '94, but they stayed pretty strong through that decade and ended up rolling right over Ottawa 4 times in 5 years, and just preceding to and coming into the first year of Mr. Melnyk's ownership. So it was, whether you want to draw an analogy out of that or not, once Mr. Ballard passed away and the team moved into other hands, which maybe had a bit of a different approach, and maybe we might see that here, then perhaps with new ownership, there certainly are entities around. There's no doubt about it, I believe, that are willing to buy the Ottawa Senators and keep them right here. There'll be no movement of the Senators. When I say keep them right here, I think the only movement could be maybe now to LeBreton. Watch for that. It's, yes, could have, should have happened 2, 3, 4 years ago. For a variety of reasons that it didn't. Moot now. But bottom line is, that's my belief. I believe the Senators end up there. I believe they end up with new ownership. I really do. And his legacy will be complete because he came in when nobody else did and saved the Senators so undoubtedly from a new location. There's no question in my mind they were that close, I think, to being to who knows where at that point. But so condolences for the last time on the loss of Mr. Melnyk for his family. A couple other things here quickly. I'd like to wrap this up here if I can, 21, 22 minutes. And I'm going to get ready, do my shot. I will toast Mr. Melnyk's memory here with a, what are we going to drink to his memory here? We'll do the Dunrobin today, the local. That's our only distillery, local distillery in Dunrobin. Thank the boys for sending that bottle there a while back. Marty St. Louis on the verge of being probably ascend to a permanent level. The Montreal Canadiens, I think that's a no-brainer. Kent Hughes saying that at the Board of Governors meeting. Toronto Maple Leafs are hoping they can get their goaltending squared away. What a dogfight. The Atlantic. Isn't everybody aren't you just mouth-watery dropping just your anticipation for the playoffs this year? It should be spectacular. Of course, Sens fans, Habs fans in particular, after that run last year, already eliminated, and but with a lot of hope for next year, I think already, and certainly beyond with what's transpired there. Toronto trying to get their goaltending squared away. Austin Matthews definitely deserves to be in the Hart Trophy conversation. Neck and neck race for the Rocket Richard Trophy. Keep in mind, you can both get that trophy if you end up tied. You can tie for that and still share the award. So it's kind of like the Bill Jennings now. You could end up tied with that and potentially share that award. You can share the Rocket Richard. So Austin Matthews, Leon Draisaitl I do this taping right now, currently tied at 48 goals. So that should be a hell of a race. So that's Toronto. Ottawa, as we know, signed Jake Sanderson, get him in the lineup ASAP. Hopefully get some games in once the hand injury heals. Everyone's eagerly awaiting his arrival on the scene. And Ottawa should be immeasurably better next year, relative health notwithstanding. And I think Forsberg and however they want to run Matt Murray out there, whether they've got to play him at his contract, has the backup, then so be it until you make some sort of determination or option to do something regarding him next year. It looks like Forsberg and Murray probably be your goaltenders. That's next year. Right now, just trying to finish strong like everybody else is that will be mathematically eliminated here in the next few days and weeks. So that's the 3 East teams out west. Winnipeg on a real charge here, trying to get in to a wild card spot in the Western Conference. Vancouver are nipping right at their heels. Tough loss last night to St. Louis. Look, you're not going to run the table here, so you got to get right back on the horse. But you've got a lot of guys playing really well there. JT Miller, I was glad Vancouver didn't move him at the trade deadline. And man, oh man, that guy's unreal. And Boudreau's come in, has done an outstanding job. Calgary are the beasts, and they are my pick to win the West. I think the Calgary Flames are going to the Stanley Cup final. I do not think Colorado would beat them in a best of 7, nor do I think anybody else would. I don't think there's anybody in the West right now that will take the Calgary Flames in a best of 7. So, if nothing else, my hope is a Canadian team makes it back to the final, and I'm picking the Flames out of the West right now. We'll do another wrap up on that as the season wraps, as we get a little closer there. Edmonton, good bounce back last night, although albeit against Arizona. I'm sure it was good to spread the wealth a little bit. They got some scoring, even though Draisaitl and McDavid both scored. They got some other guys getting off the, not so much the snide, but contributing. And they just don't have the roster. Their best opportunity here right now is stay right where they are, or just jump up ahead of LA, preferably, and get home ice advantage against LA, and have nobody come up from the wild card, because I don't think you want any part of any of those wild card teams. If Edmonton were to slide down, if Edmonton slides down into 4th, and they've got to play either Calgary or Colorado, there's just no way. They could gain some traction maybe if they were lucky to get by LA, gain some traction. And maybe Koskinen or Mike Smith. It's all going to come down to goaltending. And Markstrom's just twice the goaltender right now. And then you can throw in Darth Vader if he hiccups. And he's an up-and-comer, man. Anytime he's come in, he's played outstanding, I think, for the most part, for Calgary this year. They're just beasts. I doubted him. I doubted Daryl Sutter. I doubted him. And he's done an outstanding job. And they got a lot of guys, man, playing unbelievable freaking hockey. And it's they are sound. Edmonton, Winnipeg, Vancouver, Calgary, Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto. So I think I covered the Canadian teams there briefly right now. Just wanted to say my bit on the Will and Chris ridiculous situation and offer my condolences to Eugene Melnyk. And I'll finish on this day in hockey, and I'm going to say that's brought to you right now. I mentioned the title sponsors, of course, Hosie and Brown Automotive. Got a special video being prepared for them. I shot a lot of really fun footage at their 2 locations the last couple of weeks. We're going to put something together for them a little later as well that really highlights their incredible operation that's in its 46th year. Mark Cullen from AdSeal Services, of course, the #1 Eastern Canadian waterproofing operation commercially, and they have been a supporter as well of Liam's Hockey, and so thanks to them. But right now, this shot here as we wrap up with This Day in Hockey, and This Day in Hockey brought to you by the new Shoeless Joe's location, set to open in Orleans at 4444 Ennis Road. Yes, sir. It's my buddy Jeff Underhill. I think he has a partner or two. And I've been there. I've been inside. They are feverishly working to complete construction. They anticipate having their grand open in early May. So we got about another month at best till they crack this puppy open. And if you are familiar with the Shoeless Joe's location in Kentville, that is Jeff's as well. They have been there now for a number of years. It is a fantastic setup. If you haven't been in, you need to go. If you're out in the south end, it's an easy drive right off the 416. Take the 43 exit, boom. It's going to be right there on your left-hand side. You can't miss it. Shoeless Joe's is a Canadian franchise. It started in Canada in 1985. I'm sure most people are aware that the name is after Shoeless Joe Jackson, the man who batted .356 and unfortunately got implicated in the White Sox scandal in 1919. But fact is that great sports content just with the name, and it has been around now since 1985, and the Kentville location for a number of years, and now the brand new one set to open. So we'll have more details, give you some more specifics, not only on their grand opening and things going forward, but some more of the things that they're known for, which right out of the gate is just a fact, man. You want to go and watch sports, they're a damn good place to drop in and have a pint and a great meal. So 444 Ennis Road, set to open in a little more than a month's time. Shoeless Joe's, the newest sponsor of Liam's Hockey. We thank them for it. And I'll do this shot in a second and toast Mr. Melnyk. And This Day in Hockey, to wrap up here, folks, it's really, what day is it, you know? It's really Wayne Gretzky Day. I mean, March 29th, 1999, Wayne Gretzky scores his final goal ever in the NHL. Now, that would be noteworthy on its own, especially now with OV chasing. It would take a couple of seasons. I still don't think he's going to make it, but as every day goes by and he continues to score. Anyway, Wayne Gretzky scored his final NHL goal 894, in the regular season, March 29, 1999, against the New York Islanders. The goal was unassisted. It came late in the second period. I want to say the 17:53 mark. It was unassisted, and the goaltender was Wade Flattery. Now, if you add in Wayne's playoff goals, and if you add in his WHA regular season and playoff goals, and if you take Gordie Howe's NHL regular season and playoff goals, and WHA regular season and playoff goals, Gordie Howe ended up with 1,071 total goals. On this day in 1999, Wayne Gretzky scored career goal number, all in, 1,072. You can't make this stuff up. He beats Gordie by one goal. By one goal when you add in their pro goals in WHA and the NHL. Crazy. Crazy. I know some of you are going to say, Liam, hold on now. What about Gordie in Omaha in 1946? Good point. It was pro league. Not counting that. So, I mean, Wayne passed Phil Esposito for most points in one season on this date in 1981. He set an assist record, which he later broke on this day. I mean, it's crazy. You got Tony Esposito with his final shutout of 15 in 1970. You've got Brian Leach passing Barry Beck for the most goals by a rookie defenseman. You've got a number of other things on March 29th. But it all really starts and stops at Wayne Gretzky. So we'll finish on that one. That was brought to you by Shoeless Joe's at 4444 Innis Road. New location set to open. I thank Hosie and Brown Automotive and Ad Seal Services, Ad Seal Limited. And this shot to a man I never actually formally met, but I do offer my condolences to his children and his family on his passing. May he rest in peace, and may the Senators be in good hands going forward. It's never an easy time. So I tip my hat to him. We'll catch you next time. True North, strong and free, baby. Stay strong. G'day.